When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future videos and updates that I do post on my community tab regularly. If you want to get access to my content early, check out the Discord. As we start our story off in the late afternoon, where Deku got home from the long drive back from the academy to the house. He's in his room doing what homework he needs to do that he brought from the military academy. Deku's room has a singular bed with a large bookcase that was filled with all of his notebooks when he was younger, when he was still obsessed with heroes. I didn't know when it happened. He just lost interest in the whole being a hero profession. Yes, he still considered All Might to be the best hero and pretty much almost the only hero in his eyes. But to him, the rest of them are nothing but posers. He's been watching heroes ever since he was a kid, and the hero organization itself is corrupt. Not very good in the slightest. He witnessed heroes take bribes, use their authority to take advantage of people. It sickened him when he saw heroes doing such activities. Since that day, he sees them as what they truly are. They're no better than villains. The type of quirk he has wouldn't be feasible to choose that road. He's basically a weapon factory. As long as he knows how the item works and the components, the chemical makeup of the object, he's basically a weapons factory. Izuku or Deku can only create guns, blades, bladed weapons, blunt weapons like brass knuckles, bats, and so on. As he put down his textbook, well, I suppose I should try to see if I can make a firearm, but I can't really do that in the house. Mom would have a hissy fit. So far, making bladed objects, knives, swords, and so on don't really take a whole lot of stamina for me. Specifically, more complex items like bullets and creating guns would be tasking for my forge creation quirk. Despite everything, in realizing how corrupt the hero or organization really is, showed their true colors. He never stopped analyzing quirks. He might not be a hero obsessed like he used to be when he was younger, but that doesn't mean he doesn't find quirks to be incredibly fascinating. His quirk obsession hasn't faded in the slightest. Deku heard his mother call him as Deku calmly walks down the stairs to see his mother in front of the television in the living room, watching some sort of news broadcast. Inko had her hand over her mouth, watching a news broadcast of one of the people in the crowd charging forward and grabbing the news reporter and pinning her to the ground. As it chomps down on her neck, starting to eat her flesh on live television, there was a loud sound of a gunshot as the man who attacked the reporter fell down to the ground motionless. And suddenly, the man got up and charged again, charging towards the officer that shot him. As the news broadcast was cut off, my God, that was horrible. That poor woman. Izuku was quite shocked what he saw. He doesn't know what was that all about. After the initial shock wore off, he went back to his room, brushing off what he just saw, taking it seriously, thinking it's just some random attack from either a drunk or druggie. He's never seen someone literally begin to eat someone, but using heavy drugs can have odd effects on the human brain. As a couple days has passed since the broadcast, there has been several attacks similar like the one he saw, scattered all around Japan. At first, the rate of attacks were slow, then the attacks began to slowly increase slightly. Deku was reading a book that showed all the components inside that a firearm has, as a familiar blonde with red-eye boy came climbing through the window. Yo, gun nut. Bakugo, you know I have a door. So do I, nerd. You're not so special. So how's that fancy military school you be going to? It's a school, Bakugo. Nothing too out of an ordinary. Don't those sort of places have dorms? Stuff like that? I just found out that you've been coming home almost every other day when you're attending that academy. You know how my mom is. Yeah, Auntie Inko is quite the mother hen. Bakugo took a closer look at Deku's room. When they were younger, this room was filled with hero posters and figures. Now there's no posters on his walls. Instead, the room was filled with books and bookshelves. As Deku took a look at the bookshelf with all his Quirk analyzed notebooks. Are you serious about this? Giving up the whole hero thing? You know my opinion on this subject, Bakugo. If you don't want to be a hero, then that's fine. But you could easily get accepted from the support class. You're smart enough. I'll think about it. Why did he come over anyways? Highly doubt this was just a social call. You have my number after all. Wanted to check out some of your notebooks to get some ideas from my Quirk. You know how it works. And you know how hard it's for me to ask for help. I got you. As he got up and looked through the list of notebooks that he has on the bookshelf, picking out the volume that describes Bakugo's Quirk and possible support gear, and ways he could increase the power of his explosions, including new ways to use his Quirk. that he came up with. Bakugo is getting attacked as he beginning to growl in irritation. What got you all riled up? I'm getting hassled by some kids in the same class as me to check out this video they found online. They've been talking about for the past few weeks now. You want to check it out? Sure, why not? As he put the folder next to the angry blonde, as Bakugo stuffed the book in his bag, or notebook, as he goes to the website on his laptop and pulled up the video. Bakugo pressed play. As the video shows a couple of friends in an alleyway as they stumbled upon a bunch of alley cats eating fish, or eating fishes. When they were about to veer the camera away from the cats, something shot out of the fish mouth and right into the cat's mouth, going down the feline's throat. The cat began to drop to the ground and began to convulse and twitch. Several more started to do the same. After a few seconds, one by one, the cats began to stand up on their four legs and turn around towards the two friends as the cats began to leap towards them. As the two young men dropped, one of the young men dropped the camera as his friend dropped to the floor. As all the alley cats overwhelmed them and began to bite onto their flesh, starting to devour them alive. As the two boys were screaming out from their flesh being eaten by the alley cats. The boys eventually stopped screaming and moving as the video cut or ended. What the hell, I swear those extras are just sick in the head. What the fuck did I just watch? I don't know, but it clearly has to be fake. Come on. We don't live in a science fiction world. Superpowers is one thing, but whatever that was, it has to be fake. A well-made fake, but a fake nevertheless. I'm kicking their ass when I get back to school. Let's just forget about that fucked up video. So how long are you going to be back in town? For a few days, then I'm have to go back to the academy. We're doing finals, so I probably won't be back home here for quite some while. I'm going to have to stay at the dorms. That sucks. Knowing you, nerd, you don't really have to worry too much. We'll see what happens, Bakugo. Bakugo left shortly afterwards, going through the door. Izuku couldn't get that video out of his mind to him. It looks incredibly real, but something like that has to be a fake. I mean, cats don't act like that. At least, house cats don't act like that. Deku went to bed shortly afterwards, as he spent the next few days with his mother before he has to go back to the military academy. The day finally arrived, as he had to say goodbye to his mother, and return back to the academy. After a 4-hour car drive, he finally made it back and entered his dorm room that he was assigned when he first attended this academy. He just never used it until today. He begins to unpack his things that he brought from home, clothes, empty notebooks, and other supplies and electronic devices. While Deku was unpacking his things, the room next door, he started to hear shouts for help. Deku looked out. Did several other fellow cadets as they saw one of the cadets convulsing on the floor. Immediately, the cadet took the sick cadet to the infirmary, as many of the instructors of the military academy look after the boy. Deku couldn't shake the feeling that the video and the condition of the older cadet are connected somehow. The way he was convulsing the same way that the cats were convulsing on the video was quite similar. It was pretty scary how similar the two things were. Deku did notice a rat on the floor, dead, like something burst out of its body. As he went back to his room, when all the instructors instruct everyone to return to their rooms, they were confined, everyone to their quarters until they figure out what exactly happened, in case of some sort of cadets passing along some drugs. It's not an impossible scenario. It has happened in the past. So all the teachers are following protocol. Eventually, what medical staff is currently at the academy finally got the cadet to stop convulsing, but his fever is still extremely high. They decided to keep an eye on the cadet overnight, as there was already another cadet in the infirmary behind the curtains. Without anyone noticing, a purplish worm came crawling out of the cadet's mouth that was sent here because of his convulsing, and began to crawl towards the cadet who's behind the curtains, sleeping peacefully in his bed. The strange purple worm, about the size of a small rodent, crawled up to the bed and began to crawl on top of the cadet, getting closer to his mouth. When the cadet opened his mouth halfway, the purplish worm jumped into his mouth and went down his throat. The effects were immediately, as the cadet begins to convulse. Suddenly, the cadet that the worm crawled out of got up to his feet in an unnerving way. In charge, the academy medical staff, and took a chunk out of his neck, as the other cadet that currently has an unknown worm in his body was getting up and walking like his body was being controlled, and pinned down the female staff and forcefully opened her mouth as the purple worm shot out of the cadet's mouth into hers. A few seconds later, the nurse begins to convulse. 2 minutes later after that, she ended up getting up. A few seconds later, everyone in the room, who now has been completely turned into zombies, as the worm crawls out of the window, immediately attack the nearest closest living person and start to eat their flesh. As several cadets and medical staff start to eat one of the younger cadets right in front of him. Deku woke up in the middle of the night from screaming, as he heard a lot of ruckus in the hallway just on the other side of his dorm room. Before Deku could react, there was a noise at his door. Suddenly, someone broke the door down to his dorm, as the cadet was covered in blood and immediately charged Deku, snarling and screeching. Deku immediately used his Forge Quirk to create a metal bat. He did not hesitate. He swung the bat at his head. But to his surprise, the cadet just got back up and charged again. So Deku swung again, but this time, Deku dodged the initial lunge and got behind the cadet. As he slammed his bat into the back of his skull, forcing the feral cadet to go right through the window and land and fall into the ground from the two-story building of the dorm room, or the dorm building. As the cadet hit the ground hard, Deku was clearly surprised that the cadet just got back up and attacked the closest person to his location. Once Deku entered the hallway, he noticed the entire hallway was covered in blood, and half-eaten corpses of the cadets scattered all around the whole hallway. For the first time in his 14 years of life, he doesn't know what to do. As Deku analyzed the situation, as he came to the conclusion that the entire academy is most likely affected by whatever this is, churning the cadets into feral monsters, Deku chose to find a secure room and confine himself in there until things cool down. He has to find a safe place to lay low first. Deku could hear several screams for help until the screams were quieted down to uncomfortable silence. As the entire second floor of the dorms, it was deadly quiet, unnerving Deku immensely. Deku noticed several of the corpses on the ground in the hallway starting to move and get up. Deku slowly backed away. Deku might look calm and collected, but inside, he's freaking the fuck out. He's watching corpses get back up and slowly begin to move. Immediately, the reanimated corpses begin to slowly walk towards him. Deku did the most sensible thing and ran the fuck out of there. He doesn't want to admit it to himself, but it looks like fucking zombies. But he killed that idea straight away. Deku could hear footsteps around the corner, so he burst into one of the rooms and shut the door and locked it. As he scans the room for any hostiles, to his relief, no one was in this room. It seems that he found himself a dorm room that hasn't been used yet. So he pushed the dresser against the door and killed the light and leaned against the wall as he took out his phone, but unfortunately, he couldn't get any service out here as he put his phone back in his pocket. Fuck, what am I going to do? I might be going crazy, but those things starting to look like fucking zombies. No, this can't be real. This just can't be real. God damn it. You need to calm down, Izuku. As Deku begins to breathe slowly, as he slowly starts to calm down through meditation. That's the only reason why he hasn't been freaking the fuck out. If it wasn't for his meditation, controlling his emotions, he probably would have made a stupid mistake and got himself killed, or turned into one of those monsters. Whatever came first. Or maybe both at the same time. Half of these walking corpses were clearly missing parts of their bodies. He knows for sure that whatever these things are, whoever they are, or now they are, they're dangerous. The old him would have tried to help them, but probably would have gotten himself killed. but he's not the same person when he was younger. He doesn't know what the hell is going on. But clearly, some important information he's lacking. He doesn't know what's going on precisely, so he's not going to believe the whole zombie thing. That type of shit only in books and movies, not in reality, as he's continuously to deny the possibility of them being zombies. They can move the curtains off. He moved the side of the curtains from the window and used a mirror to see what's going on the military academy campus outside as he analyzed the animated corpses. He watched the dead corpses get up and walk around attacking anyone that wasn't undead, but Deku doesn't know that, or even has enough information to start believing they're zombies. They look human, outside of a couple of them missing limbs. They haven't started to decay yet. These are freshly new zombies, so they're not going to look too zombie-like until after some time pass. But the evidence is slowly leading towards the whole ridiculous notion of them being zombies. The zombie subject is still ridiculous in Deku's opinion, but the evidence is pretty convincing. Deku's quite concerned about his mother's safety. He's not sure if this is happening just on the military academy, or this might be worldwide, at least citywide. But he has to get out of here. That should be his main priority. He needs to get out of here alive. As he started to make throwing knives using his forge quirk, as he created a machete, he discarded the metal bat and grabbed hold of the machete and gave it a couple practice swings. As he leaned it against the wall, as he sat down, leaning against the wall right next to his machete, as he has no intention of moving around the academy in the dead of night. He knows the entire layout of the campus, but he'll rather not go out there in the dead of night and get overwhelmed because he can't see in the dark. He's completely alone right now. He's on his own. No need to get himself killed because he won't have no backup. Even if he finds someone in this academy still alive, there's a small part of him thinking he can't trust anyone. He spent the brief time in temporary safety and began to calm down his nerves. He noticed his hands were shaking. Okay, let's stick to the facts. The dead is clearly coming back, according to what I've seen. And clearly a bite is passing along this disease, or whatever this is, virus is. So getting bit by one of those things is something I should avoid at least at all costs. I need to get a firearm. It would be easier if I could just make the damn thing with my quirk, but I haven't got to that point yet. Ammunition I can make just fine, but the components for a gun's a lot more complex to make. After making his equipment, he looked through the desk to the far end of the room and found a map to the entire campus. He already memorized the complete layout, but it's always good to have a map, regardless. As he stuffed the campus map into his backpack, as he formulated a plan to get out of the dormitory. But the dormitory is slab right in the middle of the academy, and he can't simply try to scale the wall of the academy The academy is surrounded by a thick stone wall, completely separating the outside world from the academy. Only one way to enter and one way to exit is the main entrance to the academy grounds. The walls are too high, so he has to go through the long way and go through the front entrance. That means he has to go through the academy to do so. Sounds simple on paper, but whatever is happening to these people is going to be dangerous, as Deku sighed to himself, knowing regardless of the danger, he has to move as soon as the sun rises. As Deku got some sleep, when he woke up, he moved the dresser away from the door as he placed his ear against the door to hear any movements out on the other side. As he heard nothing, as he slowly opened the door to gaze on both sides of the hallway, seeing the closest clear, he closed the door gently and began to make his way down the hallway, with one machete in one hand and his throwing knife in the other. He finally found a set of stairs and began to descend downwards, going towards the first level of the dormitory. When he finally got to the first floor, he peeked over the corner of the hallway and saw several cadets that clearly roaming the hallway endlessly, grunting and growling like mere animals. Everyone in the hallways clearly has been affected by whatever disease that's been going around through the entire academy. He clearly can't go that way. There's too many of them. If he chose to go that way, he would be overwhelmed instantly. So he chose the opposite route, going the long way, eventually getting to a large window. He had no time to think, as several cadet zombies began to charge at him. Deku leaped out of the window and landed on his feet and began to run, as more reanimated corpses give chase. When Deku got surrounded by the zombies, he got ready to defend himself. Suddenly, several zombies around Deku begin to convulse and mutate right in front of Deku, as Deku ran past the undead cadets, not wanting to watch what exactly is wrong with those things. He knows for sure it can't be anything good. As he finally arrived at the weapons storage, once he picked a lock and found himself surrounded by different variations of different type of firearms, between handguns, rifles, and shotguns, and so on, Deku decided to pick up a few handguns and a couple holsters, and strapped one to his body and put the rest in his backpack. But he left the rifles alone, not wanting to have a heavy weapon slow him down. Yes, rifle has the necessary firepower to mow down anyone, really. It will clearly slow him down. He's still 14 years old, and those rifles can be quite heavy depending on the model. And he doesn't need a clunky weapon like a rifle while slowing him down. He starts to load up handgun ammunition and shove it in his backpack. Once his firearm that he has strapped to his holster was loaded, he put it back. Once he got armed up with guns and ammunition, he left the armory. Deku was going to shoot an incoming zombie, but instead he chose not to. He doesn't want to declare his position for all the feral cadets to charge at him. That would be idiotic of him to do so. The cadet zombie began to charge forward towards Deku. Deku barely dodged out of the way and immediately plunged his machete into the head of the cadet. When he pulled the weapon out of his skull, blood spattered as Deku watched the body drop to the ground, stop moving, as Deku briefly threw up. Despite them being zombies, they look completely human still. The zombies hasn't started to decay yet. That's basically what They still... Everyone in this academy still looks like a regular human. Minus, a couple missing limbs and all that. To Deku, it's no different than killing a living person. Regardless of what sort of virus they got affected with. They're still humans in his eyes. He still hasn't fully accepted that everyone are zombies. But nor do they look like zombies yet. Some are missing pieces of their body and seem to not be bothered by their wounds. But at the most part, they mostly look human. After killing a few more of them, Deku finally found himself running into a large group of cadet zombies. They didn't seem to notice him, so he quietly began to back off and enter one of the large buildings that is used for classrooms at the academy. Deku needs to pay a visit to the cafeteria. He needs to get supplies before he attempts to leave the academy. He's uncertain if he'll be able to find a vehicle. If not, then he has to go on foot. Driving will take 4 hours to get to the city and to his house. On foot, he's uncertain how long it is going to take. It might take a day or two, depending on how long the travel is on foot. He needs food and water. That's what his main priorities should be right now. Deku is currently on autopilot, not trying to think about the people he's murdering. He still can't allow himself to break down. That surely will be his death. Deku took out a key card out of his backpack and scanned it at the door as the door began to open up, unlocking, as he entered the hallway that's filled with lockers and doors to classrooms. It was deadly silent. Blood can be easily noticed, decorating the entire hallway. Pieces of flesh could be seen, with severed limbs scattered all around. Deku begins to walk around the human flesh and body and human limbs, as his footsteps could be heard echoing through the hallway. As he had a hard time stabilizing his feet as walking on the blood seen in the hallway seemed to be quite slippery, as he grabbed onto a handrail before he could fall and begin to lead further down the hallway. Once he got far enough, he finally got down the hallway where there's no blood, as he could finally walk normally. As a hand grabbed him and pulled him into the classroom as the door locked. Deku was about to attack until he noticed it's one of the instructors of the teacher staff. As he was a middle-aged man with a little bit of gray hair. The man hasn't started balding yet, so he has a full head of hair, still intact, ex-military that chose to be a teacher at the Military Academy of Japan. Good, my boy, I'm relieved to find someone else alive. What's going on, sir? I don't know yet. It happened so fast. About time I realized what was going on. All of my fellow colleagues were killed. I'm uncertain if any of the cadets are even alive. Are you armed, sir? I forgot mine in my office. I grabbed a spare when I was in the armory, as he pulled a gun out of his bag and handed it over to the teacher. Smart. Where exactly did you Where exactly did he come from? The dormitories. You could count yourself lucky. Whatever's been going on with the cadets and everyone else, it seems the dormitories are that are the most dangerous. Sir, I don't understand what's happening. I'm not even certain on what's even happening. Not even I. I don't know. I really don't. Izuku. But I'm starting to believe what we're dealing with is zombies. I mean, yes. With the evidence, it's leading towards that ridiculous answer. But you can't be serious. You can't be serious. Zombies? Next thing you know, you're gonna say, Bigfoot's real, or werewolves are a thing. You're smart, kid. Look at the evidence. I know you're right, sir, but zombies? We're not in some sort of movie or a horror novel. I mean, we're in a world where people have superpowers, and zombies is where you draw the line. Deku gave a humorless chuckle. So, what's the plan, sir? I don't know. The likelihood of more cadets managing to survive is very unlikely. And what I've seen, these undead zombie cadets were still able to use their quirks. Wait, are you telling me not only we're dealing with zombies, but we're dealing with superpower zombies? Precisely. I saw it with my own eyes, Cadet Midoriya. Deku could sense he was being completely serious, just from the tone of his voice and the look in his eyes. Alright, sir. I originally was going to go down to the cafeteria, get some food and water. Supply up. Either find a vehicle or go by foot to go back to the city. But what if what's happening in the academy is happening Japan-wide? I don't think that would be a very good idea going back to the city. I'm fully aware going back to the city is completely idiotic, but my mother's there. And I'm not leaving her to die. I could tell you're serious about this. Yes, sir. When we get out of here, feel free to go your separate way. I can't do that, kid. You're one of my students. I might not be able to save the rest of the cadets, but I'm going to make sure you stay alive long enough. I haven't been in this sort of action in a long time, but I kept my skills sharpened. Let's go with your plan. We'll head to the cafeteria, get what we need, then see if the academy still has any vehicles left. But give me a second, guys. But I gotta admit, I'm quite impressed you made it all the way from the dormitories by yourself. I'm surprised myself. I've only been operating on autopilot. I could tell you had a rough time on your way here. Yes, I did. I had to take out a few of them. I'm still trying to come to terms with that. He knows full well what Deku's experienced. The first kills are always the worst. They might have been just zombies, but to Deku, they look human, so the same effect still applies. But he is surprised the young man is keeping cool. It shows his discipline and his pure willpower to move forward. Only a rare few cadets have ever displayed such qualities since he's been teaching at the military academy. But Izuku was always one of his favorite students, and with his quirk, he would be a monster on the battlefield, a weapon factory at his fingertips. The teacher and student were broken out of their inner thoughts by footsteps could be heard on the other side of the door as zombies begin to walk through the hallway. Deku leaned against the wall next to the door and pulled out his gun. So did the teacher. They both sigh in relief as the zombie cadets passed through the door to the classroom. And that's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day. Enjoyed my time stones, and I'll catch you in the next video.